What a geschmack piece we get to learn tonight from Rabbi Yakob Abuchazira in the Sefer Pituchei Chotam on Parshas Vayayra. So we have this negotiation between Avram Avinu and HaKadosh Baruch Hu about Sodom. Vayigash Avram v'Yomar ha'aftis b'tzadikim Rasha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how could it be? Will you destroy a tzadik with a Rasha? Ula yesh chamishim tzadikim. Perhaps you can find 50 tzadikim p'tochay in the city. And Hashem says, "Im emtzev v'sdem chamishim tzadikim p'tochay v'nasasik l'chol ha'makim ba'avuram." If you could find 50, I wouldn't do anything to anybody. And it continues, 45, 30, 20, 10. So as we're becoming familiar with the Sefer Pituchei Chotam, what Rabbi Yaakov does is he finds a Maimer Chazal, or some teaching of the Zohar or the Arizal, and he weaves the teaching into the Psukim to see a deeper meaning in the Torah and in the teaching of that Maimer Chazal. So this week he deals with the Zohar. The Zohar teaches us that when a person does something wrong, when a person is chote, so what happens is that midas hadin, justice, there's a malach in Shemayim that comes before HaKadosh Baruch Hu and says, "Hey, look what this guy did. He's done. He doesn't deserve to continue living. He's married b'malach." And then another malach comes and he says, wait. Maybe he'll do tshuva. Maybe he'll do epis tshuva. Maybe he'll learn some Torah and he'll learn how to fix his ways. Maybe he'll find a midah of the Avos Avram Yitzchak and Yaakov. Or maybe he'll do something like Moshe and Aaron. Or maybe Yosef or David. He'll find something that he can fix himself with. And that way he doesn't deserve to go yet. Give him some time. That's the conversation that happens in Shemayim when Midas Hadin is Mekatrig, when Midas Hadin begins to prosecute. Says Rabbi Avram, let's look at these psukim a little differently now. Vayigash Avram v'Yomar. Avram refers to a Ram, an Av, a father that's a Ram. That means that's a malach of Rachamim, of Av, that is Ram, that's exalted. So Vayigash Avram, the malach, after a person does something wrong, and he deserves like stone to be destroyed. Vayigash Avram, the malach comes to Yomar, and he makes the following claim. Ha'af tisbet tzadikim Rasha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have here, I understand that there's tzadikim, there's a tzadik, and that's the schuyas, the mitzvahs that a person has done, and perhaps the mitzvahs that he will do. And a Rasha is his not such good things that he's done, his chatayim. So the malach comes before HaKadosh Baruch Hu and says, Ha'av tisba tzadik im Rasha. What about all the good things this person has done? Or what about the good things he's going to do? How could you just ignore that? And Hashem says, okay, let's hear what you have to say for yourself, Malach. Ula yesh chamishim tzadikim b'tochay. Perhaps there are 50 tzadikim. The number chamishim, it represents the nun sharei bina, which is a very exalted level of tshuva ilai, which takes a person mamish to the highest place we call tshuva ilai. So the Malach says, Hashem, maybe he'll do a gevaldige tshuva that'll bring him back to you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like never before. And maybe there are 50 tzaddikim, meaning maybe there's this tshuva that exists b'teicha ir. The Chavis Halvavis describes like a helis that the guf is an ir katana. We're like a mini city. And there's the Yitzhak, the Yitzhara are fighting over who's going to be in control of this city. So maybe in our guf, there's a tzaddik, there's a tshuva, there's chamishim sharbina, there's the ability for us to reach a great level of tshuva. So maybe Hashem, you can spare us. And if that doesn't work, Hashem says, "Vayem Hashem im emtze v'stoim chamishim tzadikim b'tochay ir." If I could find that, then sure. Hashem says in Emtza B'Staim, again, this is a remez to a person. And B'Staim, says Rabbi Yaakov, is the Gematria 106, the same thing as Zehaguf. Hashem says, if I could find in this guf, in this guy, if I could find Chamishim Tzadikim, that he will do a tshuva ilai, then I will be able to hold the Chol HaMakom for him. The whole place will be safe for him. But that may not work. So Avram continues. Hashem says, even if you got 45. Let's discuss the number 45 for a minute. Avram v'chamish, there's a Shem of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that equals 45. It's called the Shem Ma. And that's the Shem Havaya, the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, could be spelled out different ways. There are different miluyim. How you spell Hey? Is it Hey Aleph, Hey Hey, Hey Yud? And there are different gematrias to each of the Shem, each of the way you spell out Hashem's name. So the Shem Havaya b'milui alfin, that means using Alephs. So you spell it Yud Vav Dalet, Hey Aleph, Vav Aleph Vav, Hey Aleph, is a gematria of 45. That's called the Shem Havaya b'milui alfin. This is the Shem Havaya of Ma, which corresponds to the Midah of Tiferes. As I saw in the Sifsei, in the Sefer Sifsei Chain, he explains that what brings a person Tiferes glory. Adam is Begematria 45 as well, because what gives a person glory is when he's able to say, Ma, what am I? Like Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron say, V'nachnu ma, what are we? When a person appreciates who he is or what he is in reference to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he realizes that he's a ma, he's what? What is he? That brings a teferes, that brings a splendor to the person. So Moshe Rabbeinu, so Avram Avinu asks Hashem, if we have 45, it's not nun sharibina, it's not bringing us mamish to the highest of levels, but it's ganz fine. If a person could appreciate ma, what is he? A tshuva of putting himself in reference to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of appreciating what is he? V'nachnu ma. So maybe then HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you won't destroy the city. And Hashem says, Lei ashchas im emtze sham abayim chamisha. If a person can feel this ma, I wouldn't destroy the city. Avram continues. Maybe you can get to Arbayim, to 40. What's the number 40? 40, we know the Torah was given for 40 days and 40 nights. Moshe went up to Har Sinai, and he spent 40 days and 40 nights to receive the Torah. And Hashem said, so Avram says, maybe if a guy has Arbayim, if he can get the Torah, if he'll have Torah, if he's willing to be Magadol his children, to teach his children Torah, that should be a schus. Didn't help Sodom. But we learn another lesson. Maybe we can get to 30. What's 30 represent? So the Rabbi Yaakov says 30 represents the Shleisha Avos. The three, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Why 30? There are only 3. Because each of the Avos represented another Sevira, another idea of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, another Midah of Hashem. And each of those Seviras, each one was included with all 10. So, like, you know, when we count Sevira, so there's little things next to the number that we're up to. So you have Chesed. The first line is Chesed Sheba Chesed. There are 7 Seviras that we're talking about in Seviras HaOmer, and each of one has the 7 sub-levels. So you have Chesed Sheba Chesed, Chesed Sheba Gvura, Chesed Sheba Tiferes. Those go on. So in the Eser spheres, which just include Keser, Chachma and Bina as well, so each sphera has a smaller level of each one inside of it as well. So that gives us the 30. What's the idea? Maybe a person, maybe this guf, is willing to be metaken his midas, to do chesed like Avram, to become a pro in chesed, to have the gevura of Yitzchak. Maybe he's willing to be Meiser Nefesh, Mesiris Nefesh like Yitzchak, or the Tiferes, the emes of Yaakov. If a person is willing to change his midas, to fix himself, like the Shleisha Avos, Ula Yimsum Shom Shleishim, that's also a schus. And not even that, even if it's just Esrim. Esrim refers to Moshe and Aaron, the next two spheres, which are Netzach and Hoid. Maybe a person is willing to be humble like Moshe, or willing to run to try to bring shalom to the world, shalom between people like Aaron HaKohen. And maybe even if all else fails, Im Yimtzam Sham Asara. 10 refers to Yetzav HaTzadik, which is the Midah of Yesod, which is the concept of Kedusha, the Shmiras Habris. Maybe a person is willing to be able to sanctify himself like Yetzav HaTzadik did, in holding back from temptation. Or maybe he's willing to rule, take a leadership position amongst his peers, like David HaMelech rules, with honesty, and leads and finds things that the community needs, and fills that needs and takes a leadership role there. Ula Yimtzum Shamasara. So unfortunately it didn't work out well for Sodom. But the lesson Rabbi Yaakov is teaching us here is that what does it take when a person is feeling far away? He feels like a chote. And the Malach comes and tells him, listen up, buddy. What does it take to do tshuva? To reinvent yourself. You don't have to go for the 50, the Shnun Shari Bina. There's 45, there's 30, there's 20, there's even 10. One struggle with the Midas HaYesod in sanctifying ourselves, in Benam Chavera, in looking for Shalom, in looking to be, not a Baal Machlekes, a feeling of humility, of what am I? It's all we need to bring us back in. And when you take one, we'll continue growing and becoming greater and better and better. There's one other idea though, you read the Parsha and you feel like, what was the point of all this? Here, you had this great negotiation, but at the end of it, what did Avram get? He lost the battle, he went back home. Sodom was destroyed. Why did Hashem have to tell him this in the first place? Yeah, this whole machlekes, this whole give and take, this whole shakavataria, this whole negotiation. What was it for? Hashem says, can I hide this from Avram? What did he gain? So Rabbi Yaakov tells us, whoa, what did he gain? He might not have gained Sodom, but you know what he gained? Lot, Rus, Naama. He gained 2 pearls. What a powerful lesson. We daven, we feel it sometimes. For what? But HaKadosh Baruch Hu is putting in a situation where we have to daven because he's going to take those tefillas. And there will be something that will come from that tefillah. It might not have been Sodom, but what Avram wanted, it's going to bring Mashiach, came from those tefillas. Have a great Shabbos.